What's going on, guys? We have some recent news to talk about. There's a massive scamming operation that just got caught, and thanks to that, it appears that the US is adding to their strategic Bitcoin reserve. Before we talk about that, I want to mention the market. Bitcoin miners are absolutely rallying today, especially any of the AI focused ones, but what's funny is Nvidia's selling off. Mega caps in general really aren't doing that great. You have Apple pretty much flat, Microsoft, Meta, Google slightly green. You've got Tesla in the red. Definitely an interesting day. And while that's all going on, you've got things like Bitfarms rallying 37%, TerraWolf up 10%, Iron up 6.5%, Canaan up 17%, BTBT up 7%. It's funny because out of all of these names on WGMI's heat map, Nvidia is performing the worst. Now we do have some news about this massive scam operation, and the US is working to confiscate $15 billion in Bitcoin from this scam. They filed a civil forfeiture complaint for 127,000 Bitcoin worth about $15 billion, the largest in Bitcoin's history. The DOJ charged the leader, Z, with wire fraud conspiracy, money laundering conspiracy for this Prince Group company, the operation of forced labor, scam compounds across Cambodia. They were taking people and making them work against their will, apparently, threatening them with violence, and basically forcing people to go around, scam people out of their crypto, using romantic relationships in some cases, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And the money is currently in the custody of the US government, so there's a good chance that this ends up in the Bitcoin reserve. Does this affect Bitcoin in any massive way? Not necessarily. It's not like the US government is just going out and buying the Bitcoin, putting a bunch of buying pressure in there. It's basically that the Bitcoin is trading hands, so this shouldn't really affect price much, in my opinion. But yeah, it might have been a different article regarding the same thing that I was looking at here, but it showed like a tower of phones where it had like 76,000 different accounts, 1,200 different phones. They were all on different social media platforms, trying to get people into romantic relationships, getting them to give up their keys. Maybe there will be less comments down below from scammers talking about this random Xinguzonganum coin, but I won't hold my breath. We also had some news today of China retaliating regarding that tariff tweet the other day, and basically China is planning on imposing curbs on the American units of Hana Ocean Co., which is one of South Korea's largest shipbuilders. This article also mentioned the ETFs, and on Monday we did see 756 million in outflow from Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it looks like the market is reacting to this retaliation. Bitcoin's down. For Bitcoin, it's down 3%, which is a bit of a move. Likely reacting to this news. Meanwhile, we have all of these Bitcoin miners just absolutely rallying. Remember, guys, when times are good, you want to take a little bit of profits. Get some cash ready for the bad times. I'll leave that article down below for you. There's really not much going over it besides the ETF outflows and this recent China retaliation. But here's something interesting. A trader who attracted attention successfully shorting Bitcoin right before that crash on Friday. They added to their position even as the market was rebounding. But if Bitcoin reaches 123,000 or about 7.5% higher, the trader will be liquidated. This is obviously people in the know doing some massive short. You don't just randomly wake up one day and decide that I'm gonna go all in on shorting the market, shorting Bitcoin. The thing is, Bitcoin, crypto is probably regulated a lot differently than stocks. And while I do think people should look into this, see what's going on, who is this tied to? This is blatant market manipulation, but what probably happens is that there are no laws basically forbidding this. We also had earlier in March a trader opening a 50x leveraged bet on Bitcoin before announcing a crypto reserve. Before the announcement of a crypto reserve, turning $4 million into $200 million. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Is it just someone getting very, very lucky? I think there's like a 1% chance of that. I think more likely it's someone that knows things going on and is betting accordingly and is likely to get away with it because there probably isn't laws and regulations in place regarding this with crypto. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting day so far. We've got mega caps kind of flat or selling off a bit. We've got random names in the market rallying. I saw Walmart was having a really good day today for some reason. And then, we got the Bitcoin miners and the AI plays doing pretty fantastic today. Bit Digital, for one, up at this 431 zone. If it can break over 450, I think it's a good chance that it's going to take its cycle highs here, the 5 area. Clear over 5 and start seeing new highs. One thing that's potentially concerning is if we don't get a higher high on the RSI here, If we start seeing the RSI post lower highs while the chart is hitting higher highs, this is a bearish divergence, and it may be a sign that BTBT is due to cool down in the future. On a good note, the trend is our friend. We are in an uptrend. We've been in an uptrend since mid-April, pretty much the same time that Bitcoin started. It's a clear trend that it's been in since April, and I'll show you that in a minute. But you know, BTBT really just has to take out these highs here, take out basically this 450, reclaim it as support, and then it's on its way to take the cycle highs. It's been in a beautiful uptrend. I do think it's a good time to be slowly trimming, not piling in super late in the cycle, but trimming, taking some profits, preparing for the bad times. These are clearly some good times, if you haven't noticed. Speaking of good times, iron rallying again at new highs, almost $70. It's been a hell of a ride, a hell of a journey from back when iron was only $1 stock back in 2022. It's got a lot of hype. It's got a lot of people piling in way up here while we're overbought, while we actually see a bearish divergence, equal highs on the RSI, higher highs on the chart. My advice is be cautious. You can do whatever you do in the end. It is your money. It is your choice. I do think it's a good time to be taking profits on iron. But even as in BTBT's case, with iron, the trend is your friend. It's following this beautiful uptrend that it's following basically since April. These are all following in the same pattern since basically the same timeline, since April of 2025, the same time that Bitcoin started its uptrend. Risk on is having a fantastic rally. So if you're looking to get in now, set a stop loss, let it ride. The trend is our friend for now. At some point, the trend won't be our friend. At some point, in my opinion, it will break this uptrend. Once it breaks this uptrend, all bets are off. It is very far away from its 50 MA at $32. It is very far away from its 200 MA at $16. I do think there will be profit taking, but for now, party on. Keep an eye on the divergences. We do have a divergence here on the daily. And looking at the weekly, iron is heavily overbought. My advice is be cautious. Consider a stop loss. Consider an exit plan. If it goes up to this level, I'm taking profits. If it drops down to a certain level, I'm also selling. Have a plan if you're getting into something like iron that is very far from its crypto winter lows, very overbought on the RSI, etc. Love iron for the long term. It is the most efficient Bitcoin miner. They have massive AI plans, but a lot of that needs to come to fruition. They're making $2 million a month from their AI, and this is clearly running on hype. Now I also want to look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin been doing? It's having a kind of a rough day. It tried to reclaim the 50 MA, but it failed. Now we're down here at our support line. This support line that it has started back in April of 2025. Do you see the connection? Do you see BTBT, iron, Bitcoin, a lot of other things started their trend right here in April, and it has been an uptrend ever since. Bitcoin is still respecting its trend. Keep an eye on if Bitcoin is to break this. It'll probably test the 200 MA. But you know, be cautious. We are late in the cycle. Things should be good for the next couple months, but you never know what the market brings us. If you follow the cycle, we should see a continued rally in October, November, maybe into December. That's what past cycles have given. A good end of year rally. A fantastic time to be taking profits into hype, into excitement, into euphoria. One thing we mentioned the other day is this divergence for Bitcoin. A bullish divergence. We've got the RSI picking up, climbing. Look at that RSI climbing here. Meanwhile, the price is basically sideways. We have pretty much equal lows here, while we have higher lows on the RSI. I do think Bitcoin is turning around soon. I do think it will rally based on the cycle, based on incoming rate cuts, based on global M2. I do think Bitcoin is heading to its all-time high. I do think we'll see new all-time highs before the year ends. And while this is happening, make sure you're taking profits, make sure you're securing some cash. While everyone's saying to buy, Bitcoin's going to $1 million. While everyone's saying to buy iron, it's going to $200, which is barely like a 3x. While people are saying BTBT suddenly going to $20, you know, remember to take profits while times are good. That is my advice for the day. Remember, the reason that the Fed is cutting rates isn't because inflation is at our goal. It is because the labor market is weakening. That is the main reason we're getting cuts, because of market weakness, because of the economy, not because of inflation being where it should be. We're basically getting cuts on some shaky terms. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. How are you guys feeling about the Bitcoin miners? Are you taking profits or are you piling in here late in the cycle? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.